China started their accession to the GPA back in 2007. When they joined the WTO in 2001, they promised to start that process as soon as possible, and it took them 6 years to start. We're now in year 12, and they have submitted one initial offer and 6 revised offers. And the latest was in October of 2019. And we've seen with each of their offers that they're better. They're expanding their procurement that they will cover under the GPA, but it's still not sufficient. One of the key issues for joining the GPA, which is a plurilateral agreement in the WTO, which means that only those countries that join have obligations. They have to negotiate with the other parties what procurement they will cover. And unless it's covered, then there's no obligations to follow the GPA. So the past 12 years have been spent on trying to work with China to ensure that they're covering adequate amount of procurement. The second is, do their laws and regulations comply with the GPA? And the parties have to make that determination. They've recently started a process of revising their tendering and bidding law, which basically applies to SOEs and construction. But they've also, in their foreign investment implementing regulations that went into effect on the 1st of this year, they have indicated that there would be no discrimination against foreign invested firms in participating in procurement in China. Their latest offer is clearly their best, and each one has gotten better. In their latest offer, they're now coming much closer to offering the procurement that's commensurate with other parties. They've offered for the first time defense entities, which they had long claimed they could not cover. They've also covered all of their provinces and their 4 province equivalent cities. They're covering now, I think, about 20 state-owned enterprises, which is obviously nothing like all of their entities, but they're at least covering some of them. They've offered more services, but they're still probably less than what other parties are offering. They're covering all their construction services, but there's the questions whether or not there's some obstacles to participating in construction in China. There's still some other obstacles that are out there. One is that they want to have what's called transitional measures, which only apply for, or only can be approved for, developing countries, and there's probably a big question whether or not China qualifies as a developing country. They want to be able to delay their implementation once they're approved for 2 years, but that's down from 15 when they started the process in 2007, so that's a positive step. They also want to set aside procurement or have procurement reserved for small and medium-sized businesses, which is probably another obstacle. But the overall questions for the GPA parties will be, are they offering procurement that's sufficient, particularly services and state-owned enterprises?